Hello everybody, for those of you who might not know, this is part 2 of a very important 2-part episode, so I'd highly recommend going back and watching the first part. What we're doing here is we are building a free-to-play list, so I'm starting over a new account from scratch. We're going to be doing every week a certain number of games, and I will be building a deck around the cards that we've opened and seeing how high we can climb over the course of a season, which is a month. We don't have rank unlocked yet, but our last video was going over starting puzzles and forges and how to get our collection started and where we're going from there. And this one is now going to cover the deck that we're building for our gauntlet run so that we can go through the gauntlet versus the AI and then moved on from there to ranked at the start of next season. So if you haven't checked out the first video, please do. Other than that, let's go ahead to the gauntlet. Okay, so I jumped ahead a bit. And I did enough forges to get to gold, which was actually 3. We ranked up pretty darn quick, which was nice. And we got 14 packs for our trouble. We still have about the same amount of gold, which is pretty sweet. And I'm going to crack these open. We're going to see what we have, and we'll build a deck out of it. We also managed to get a legend in one of the forges. Not an important one. It was Dark Claw Ravager, which is not a particularly relevant card, but we can use it to shift stone away and get any rare that we want. So not a super relevant card, but we'll be able to get something decent out of it. So I'm going to open up our packs. We'll see exactly what we have, and then we will build a deck and go through a gauntlet. Packs have been opened, and we got 2 more legends. So we now have Dark Claw Ravager, we have Valkyrie Harvester, and we have a Film Cauldron. So none of them are particularly useful for what we're going to do. I mean, most decks are not going to run any of these. These are pretty unexciting cards as far as actual deck building goes, but we can shift stone them away. Unfortunately, can't destroy any of these scions, but we do have these to shift stone into something better. Then we're going to take a look at our rares and see where the best build is going to be. Make ourselves some extra shift stone, and then let's take a look at what we have for rares. Fair number, honestly. We got a bunch of scrap heaps, which could be interesting. It's certainly possible that we could build a Grenadin list, so we can take a look at that. We've got some Xenan obelisks. We could make a Praxis tokens list. So I have an obelisk at the start. 1 Valkyrie Enforcer. We've got double Roland's Honor Guard, which unfortunately is a little too big to use reliably. We've got an Umbran Reaper as one of our opens, which is certainly an acceptable card. Impending Doom is one of them. Double Channel the Tempest, so we could make a control deck. The problem with most of those decks is they need a lot of legends. So we're trying to make something that's not going to take a lot. That mostly means things like Stone Scar, Rakano, or Skycrag, possibly kind of aggro decks. Aggro tends to use a little bit less in terms of legends. We might be able to make an aggro Grenadin list. Scrap Heap's not at its best there, but I did see us opening a few Grenadins, so I'm kind of interested in what we will see out of that. So I'm going to just see really quickly about Grenadin. Okay, for our first gauntlet deck, I landed on this eventually. So I started out with a little bit of Grenadin. We had the Xenan Obelisk, so I put that in. So it's a bit of Praxis. We don't have a lot of banners. We only have a Cambrai banner, a Xenan banner, and something else. We don't have a whole lot that we can use for good power base yet. But Seed of Impulse, a couple time sigils should be enough for us to run a single Xenan Obelisk. And then we're crafting only a little bit. It'll only cost us 1,000 shiftstone to craft, which is really nice. And we're looking at crafting Grenadin drones, Oni Ronins, and Rakano Outlaws as some of our main ones, things like Assembly Line. These are cards that we could reasonably use for quite a while, so I don't mind crafting them. And only 1,000 shiftstone isn't a lot of money into it so far. I think Fire is kind of going to be the easy one to get into, because we can get into, like I said, Skycrag, Rakano, or Stone Scar, all from that. So we mostly just want to kind of concentrate on fire for now, and then we'll open up packs, see if we get lucky, get a couple of legends. Like if we get a couple of Bandit Queens, then maybe we want to go Stone Scar. If we end up getting like a Deep Forge Plate, then we'll probably move into Rakano. So for the first little while here, before we actually do ranked games, I'm going to try and be a little bit malleable and see what the best cards that we have are, and not do too much shift stoning. I don't want to get too crazy with dusting all of the rares and making very, very specific decks yet, until we actually decide where we can go from what we're opening. So like crafting a bunch of cards this early just seems a little bit dicey. We can dust a bunch, but there's not a big point in doing that just because we don't know exactly what we want to build yet. And I think that going a little too overzealous in, you know, crafting new cards is probably a bad way to start out a new collection. So we're going to try this. I'm going to run it through a very quick gauntlet, and I'll let all of you wonderful people watch that. Hello everybody, welcome back to round one of our gauntlet here with our free-to-play deck that we haven't really gotten a bunch of cards yet for. This is a difficult keep, but I think I will anyways. We're in pretty decent shape. We've got some good aggression here at the start. And so then we're in a position where if we draw any power, we're in pretty good shape and we can hold on for a while. We've got some stuff to do. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to torch that immediately and then lead with a Grenadin drone because it's the most damage actually attacking, and there's a good chance that our opponent doesn't have another blocker. And we'll see how fast the AI comes out. Alright, sweet. Good to know, good to know. Decent Warcry target. We will need some more power, but we're doing okay. Some of the best draws that we can get are like another power into a rally. I wanted to put a lot of rallies, and if you notice I put in a bunch of things like Rampage in here as well. The reason why I have that is because it's really good, like I said before, for the AI to make up a lot of mistakes. If you play at fast speed, the AI doesn't play around it very well, so you can take advantage of that a lot. If you attack, say, like a 3-3 into their 5-5, they'll always block. It doesn't matter. If your creature has quick draw, whatever, they don't care. The AI just doesn't understand how to properly evaluate the board states like that. So you can really kind of wreck them by being aggressive or making them do silly blocks. Like a lot of the times, if you attack with, say, like a 3-3 and they have a 1-2, a 1-2, and a 1-3, they'll snap block it. Even though it's pretty obvious you might have like a Torch or a Rampage or something if it was a human opponent. I'm going to attack with just these two for now. We don't want to let Yeti spy in. And we're kind of crushing it. We don't need to get overly aggressive here. Okay. Poor little Outlaw. It did its job, though. Ooh. Almost enough. I think just the one. I'm going to be extra safe here. We don't want to throw away a game. It's very likely that they'll have, like, Snipe and Stun and those kinds of cards against us. So here's where I think we take advantage of the AI. Because it'll always block. And then we can just do that. And pass. And that'd be a bad position for a human to be in as well. But for sure the AI, we know will block that. The AI basically does the simple math. Looks, it's a 1-1, my creature is a 3-3, I block. And there we are. Alright, first game of the gauntlet down. Ooh. This one's a tougher keep. I don't have any real good start, so I'm going to redraw that. I want some early units. We've got to be aggressive. Obelisk is very powerful. Probably the most powerful card in our deck. And ticking Grenadin. Well, I'm glad that we have the Xenan Obelisk here to kind of be a force multiplier for our side and change the math. And I'm going to just pass again. Hold up the torch to kill the 2/2. And see where their attacks are going to come in. Okay. We do need some more units, but we're alright right now. Ooh, Scrap Hound is good. I wanted to include a card like Scrap Hound because it's good for early aggression against the Forge, and it's also decent later because it's a little bit of a sink for your power if you end up getting too much and the game's going long and you need something that can go over the top. The Scrap Hound can do that. Unless, of course, it gets, you know, scrapped.
Who says you can't play with fire?
That being said, we've got Xenan, Obelisk, and Assembly Line. We're probably going to be okay. This is another one of those times where the AI will for sure double block, and I think we use the torch just because of the rallies that we have. Get rid of a bunch of blockers, and then we can just smash for a ton.
Who says you can't play with fire?
Yeah, we're looking really good here. And send in the clowns. Hit our opponent for more than half their life. And even if they kill something here, we're likely to still kill them. Awesome. Popping down the gauntlet really quickly here. Okay. We have Grenadin drone taking Grenadin. This is a really good hand. Another advantage of building aggressive like this early on is that we can grind through a lot of games very quickly. So we can get gold a lot faster this way. I've talked about that a lot of times before on stream. But there's a big advantage to playing super aggressive if your goal is to get as much gold in as short a time as possible. I'm willing to trade that. Not super excited about it. But we've got other things to threaten afterwards. I don't want them having extra power. It seems like an okay trade for me. I still get my war cry. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit back with that forever, and it's eventually going to get outclassed. At least this way it's trading.
Time quickens.
Especially if they have extra power, it's really, really likely that they'll be able to just outclass it entirely. And we're going to fill up the board here, because I'm hoping to hit a rally. Good. They're just spending their time drawing extra cards, which is more than acceptable for us.
Who says you can't play with fire?
And we'll just keep sending in. We don't need to torch the 0-2 just yet. And I don't want to torch the 1-1 either, even though they're keeping it around. The AI is generally not smart enough to be like, well, we need this for a 6. It's probably there just because they think that it's value. So this is kind of unfortunate. We'll attack with everything. And then I think we have to torch that. We have a lot of Grenadin, but them eating one a turn will whittle it away pretty quickly. Oh boy, Scrap Hound is great here. Stun another one. Clank, 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 clank. It's almost the perfect draw. It wasn't rally, but it's close. And it's looking like we've got it. I mean, they could have, I suppose, Lightning Storm, but yeah. Seems like we're pretty good. Generally, this early, the AI shouldn't have Lightning Storm, but I'm not going to play Oni Ronin and do it anyways. They're just dead next turn unless they have something like Lightning Storm. They have to have that level of card, Crystallize, Lightning Storm. Not worried otherwise. And there we go. Cruising through the gauntlet. It's really nice to get these rewards for different levels as well. If you can, I wouldn't concentrate on it too much, but if you can try and play different colors, it's definitely worthwhile just so you get a little bit of extra faction rewards. Level 4 is all of the packs, so that's kind of nice. And now, yeah, we can keep this. We just get to shoot a bunch of things out of the way and keep war crying. Especially with us going on the play. Seems pretty good. Silencing that isn't honestly that bad for us at all.
Draw, mister.
We just care that it's a 1/1 on turn 1. Eventually it can rally, can get bigger with the Xenan Obelisk. Those are the kinds of things that we really care about. The Entomb is nice, but certainly not necessary. I'm going to trade with the 1/1 here, because I feel like Piercing Shots got more value later. Plus, I would like to Kaleb's favor into an Oni Ronin. Make sure that we're hitting our power sources.
I bring word.
Spire Chaplain. That is a little more annoying, although thankfully we did draw power. I think that I don't mind shooting that thing twice just so we get extra war cry and a ton of extra damage through. Could be scary though if they land something even bigger. They've been adjusting something. Got something big for us. Okay, that's decent. Thankfully we drew the time, so we just get to keep attacking here. And yeah, I do not mind trading for the 2/3 deadly.
Focus, child.
Oh, they made a 1/3 clears favored. We're looking really good then. Since it's the AI, there's not really a point in holding power. Normally I would say that you should wait, but not here. No big deal at all. The AI is not going to play around other stuff. Whoo, that is a big Morningstar. Hello. And got them. This hand looks very keepable. Let's start with the Scrap Hound, obviously. And we're going to face off against something that's kind of similar to ours. They're going to have a lot of little units.
Draw, mister.
But that's okay. We'll just be patient. Wait for an opening. That's too bad. Funny, I kind of wish that they had attacked with the Forge Wolf. This is one of our filler cards, Pouncing Drake. I'm not excited about the card, but it's... When you don't have a lot of options, it's a reasonable pick. It's got the evasion. You can occasionally have it as essentially a drawn card, where it draws an extra card from playing it off the top of your deck. Here, shoot this, and... I think I'm just okay attacking with everything. I don't mind clearing away the board. It's not letting them build up to anything. Sure. And we'll pass. Torch is probably a better spell for us next turn. Although it depends. Because I could do this. And start getting in with some really big scrap hounds.
This is almost too easy.
Cabal Rogue. I'm interested. I could have played the Pouncing Drake, but I'm intrigued to see if they'll do the double block. Oh, yes. Yeah, the AI will take a lot of very questionable blocks. I mean, that one they probably had to, even if it was a person, but just nice to know that most of those blocks will happen. Ooh, wow. 2 of our 3 time sigils. Let's not do that hand. We definitely need something better than that. This looks good. Got our first Rampage. Oh yeah, we're in a solid spot with this hand. All the power we need. And an assembly line for the units. I could Rampage over that. I think that's a little too aggressive. We'll just wait. We can hold off just a bit.
How can I serve?
And then we get the assembly line. And now I don't mind attacking. Very unlikely that they block. That's another thing, is the AI hates trading down, quote-unquote, too, even if it's a good trade for it overall. It doesn't really understand that sometimes you might have to block a 1-1 with a 2-1. It'll do it in the last desperate situation, but generally later than a person would. Wish we could play this Powderkeg. Might just be Scrap Hound. If I make a 4-4, then it's just going to get blocked. Alright, we'll just Scrap Hound and pass. We have good payoff for our creatures dying right now. All the little bit of later game kind of stuff for this deck. And that makes me feel okay to wait just a bit here. Another thing is the good chance they attack, which is just silly seeing the board. Know that we're going to have a very big Powderkeg and Scrap Hound, but again, AI doesn't necessarily get that. And now we get to leave up that Rampage. Doesn't seem necessary. Mostly insurance in case they did have something like a Finest Hour, which they can do. They can have it like a Finest Hour to block Powderkeg and kill. Ooh. Alright, so we're gonna overwhelm this. And then I actually think we just swing with the team. They've got to start blocking some of our bigger units. And I'm fine with just trading here, honestly. I guess if I had done the math properly, I could have just killed them. Whoops. For some reason, I thought I'd leave them at 4. But this is the same thing. Oh, wait, they actually left themselves dead. That doesn't seem right. Huh. Okay. Maybe maybe I didn't do the math again. The computer does the math fast, so it might have realized that the overwhelm on the Scrap Hound was enough to kill it, and it just blocked however. Well, either way, finals time it is. I'm playing these pretty quick, because in general, you don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about it. The tough part is going to be these bosses, because they always have, as you may or may not know, these lovely little stipulations on them. So with this one, whenever you draw Sigil, transform it into a Waystone of the same faction. Okay, that's actually kind of amazing for us. I'm going to keep this, because that means that every Fire Sigil is actually a Granite Waystone, and they give us 1/1 Grenadin. So that's pretty fantastic for us. I kept this hand thinking that there's a good chance that we'll hit either power or we're just going to draw more very cheap units because our deck is super cheap. That is a bit scary because I don't like the idea of them being able to echo Waystones. I actually think we Ticking Grenadin and kill it.
Safe travels, friend.
Yeah, and these games are very random as to who wins them.
Choose your side.
They're kind of all over the place. Just because if you have a deck that's suited to the specific stipulation, you're in a good shape, but a lot of times that you won't. I think our deck right now is pretty well situated for this. We're putting on some good pressure. We've got them going a little bit low.
Choose your side.
Obviously, Xenan, Obelisk, and Granite Waystones go really well together. Too bad.
I bring word.
Yes, here we go. Obelisk it is. Better and better. Dead. And dead. There we go. See that solid little gauntlet deck, especially for the start. And we get another free forge, so we've got a ton of forging to do. I'm not going to do it all on this one video. I'm going to do some of it offline. And we'll kind of leave you with this being our deck for the week. I'll do some upgrades at the start of next week based on what games I've played. Like I said, right now I'm only going to be doing Forge and Gauntlet. Once the next season starts, then I'm going to limit myself to 10 ranked games a week. And I'll show the cards that I get every week that I'm adding into the decks. And then we'll continue on from there, play 10 games, and see how high we can climb after the 4 weeks of doing ranked in the month. So basically, we're going to play, I don't know, it'd be about, 40, 50 games next month, all in ranked. And we'll end up on the 31st of March, the Saturday, and see where I end up in, hopefully, Masters at the end of the month for the season. We're going to use all of our gold as much as we can for now on Forge and Gauntlet. These are kind of the good places to start. Until you get to until you get to Masters, it's a really good idea to spend your time forging and gauntleting. And so that's what we're going to do as the start. It's always what I've recommended to other people to do, so I wanted to try and teach people to do that and show the value of it. And then after that, we're going to use drafts for our gold and add those cards into our ranked deck. And we'll try and level that up, see where we get with both. And I will see you for a little more of this next week.